Let's be honest. If you've been anywhere online in the last, 5 years, you've been sold the passive income dream of real estate.
Oh, absolutely. The whole Airbnb gold rush thing.
Exactly. You know the pitch, right? You lease a cool apartment, you buy some nice mid-century modern furniture, take these perfect photos.
And make it look like a West Elm catalog.
Yes. And then you just list it on the apps and, I don't know, retire to a beach somewhere while the algorithm does all the work for you.
It's a very, very seductive narrative.
Seductive, sure, but is it? I mean, is it still accurate? My entire feed feels like it's full of people talking about occupancy rates just, falling off a cliff, the Airbnb bust.
Well, that's pretty much exactly where we're starting this deep dive.
Mm.
We are looking at the work of Jorge Garcia from a company called Roadmap Lodging.
Okay.
And he has a name for that model you just described.
Ah.
The buy, furnish, and pray method. He calls it the lease then list model.
Lease then list.
And he does not mince words. He says it's basically gambling.
Gambling. I guess because you're spending all the money before you have any hope of making it back.
Precisely. I mean, think about the actual mechanics of it. You sign a lease. That's a huge liability right there.
Yep.
Then you buy thousands of dollars in furniture. That's a big capital expense. You pay for photography. You've done all this work, spent all this money, and you haven't spoken to a single human being who's actually going to pay you.
You're just betting that the market wants the exact thing you just decided to build.
It's a guess, a massive guess. And Garcia proposes a complete inversion of this. He calls it the backwards business model, or, more formally, demand first.
Backwards. Okay, that implies we're getting the customer before we get the product, which I have to say, that immediately sets off my skepticism radar.
Does sound weird.
How do you sell a house you don't have? I mean, that sounds a little bit like a scam, or at the very least, a logistical nightmare.
It's definitely counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But try to think of it less like selling a house you don't have and more like concierge sourcing.
Concierge sourcing, okay.
It's about shifting from a business that runs on luck, hoping some tourist picks your listing out of thousands, to a business that runs on specific contracted demand.
All right, I'm listening. But before we get to the how, because I really want to unpack that, how you get a contract without a building.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the mindset. Because Garcia admits he started out doing it the wrong way, right?
He did. He fell right into what he calls the host trap. And this is a really key point for anyone listening who gets, obsessed with product quality. Garcia was totally fixated on the vibe. He was obsessing over thread counts, finding the perfect coffee maker, the whole Instagram aesthetic.
Which is what all the platforms tell you to do. Become a superhost, get fluffier towels.
Right. And his places, they look fantastic, but they just sat empty. The big realization he had was, and this is a quote, "The property is a product, but the people are the business."
Okay, unpack that a little. The people are the business.
He realized he was trying to attract shoppers.
Yeah.
Tourists, people on a weekend trip, digital nomads. These are fickle customers. They'll have 20 tabs open. They read every single review. They argue about cleaning.
You think it's like a commodity.
Exactly. So he pivoted away from people who shop to people who don't shop. He pivoted to corporate housing.
Corporate housing. So we're talking about what? Insurance adjusters, relocation managers for big companies.
Yep. HR directors, travel nurse coordinators, that kind of client.
And I'm guessing an insurance adjuster is not scrolling through Airbnb looking for a cute boho chic bungalow.
No. No way. I mean, imagine the situation. A family's house just burned down. The insurance adjuster needs to find a place for a family of 5 with 2 big dogs, and it has to be in a specific school district.
And they need it yesterday.
They need it today. They don't have time to browse. They have a massive problem, and they just need a solution fast.
So they aren't looking for a host.
They are looking for a housing solution provider. And Garcia makes this distinction very, very clearly. When you solve that problem for them, you find that dog-friendly house in the right school district, immediately you start being a one-time transaction. You become a partner, not a banker.
Partner, not a banker. I like that. It implies you're part of their actual workflow, not just some vendor taking their money.
Exactly. If you're an HR director trying to move 10 executives to a new city, you are stressed out. You do not want to coordinate 10 different Airbnbs. You want one phone number you can call and hear, "Consider it done."
Okay, conceptually that clicks. But let's get into the weeds, because this backwards method has 3 steps, and step 1 seems to be the one that trips everyone up. Step 1, identify demand.
The discovery phase, yeah.
Right. So in the old model, step 1 is scroll Zillow, but here step 1 is, what, cold call?
Essentially, yes. You're picking up the phone, But, and this is so critical, you are not selling.
That feels like a tough needle to thread. You're calling a total stranger, but you're not pitching them.
Look, if you call an HR director and say, hey, I've got this great apartment, do you want it? They're going to hang up on you. They already have vendors. They're busy. Garcia suggests using a learning approach. He's got this magic question that is designed to just lower their defenses.
Okay, what is it?
He asks, when you place people in this city, what is the hardest part about finding housing?
What is the hardest part? That's smart. It's not a sales pitch at all. It's like a free therapy session.
Exactly. You are literally inviting them to complain to you. And people love to complain about the friction in their jobs.
So the HR director says, well, honestly, we can never find places that allow German shepherds, or everything is just too far from the new manufacturing plant.
Boom, right there. Now you have the demand profile. You aren't guessing that people might like a place near the stadium. You know, for a fact that a Fortune 500 company is actively struggling to house its engineers near that plant.
That's market intelligence that you cannot find on Zillow.
No way.
But okay, this is where I get stuck. Let's say I make that call. I find out they need 3-bedroom units near the plant. Now we're at step 2. Secure the relationship. I still don't have a house. Why is that HR director giving me the time of day if I don't have any inventory to show them?
This goes back to that solution provider mindset shift. You're not selling a specific address yet. You're selling your standard of service. Garcia suggests you send them sample units.
Sample units? What? Like, here's a picture of a house I could get for you.
Sort of. Or here is the standard of furniture and finish that I always provide. You're selling the brand promise. You're saying, I specialize in sourcing housing that fits your exact needs. Next time you have a relocation, call me first, and I will handle everything.
So your goal is just to be top of mind.
That's it. You want to be the first call. And because you aren't desperately pushing a specific empty unit that you need to fill, you come across as a consultant, not a landlord who's behind on their mortgage.
Okay. So let's fast forward. The phone rings. It's that HR director. They say, okay, you said you could help. I have a VP coming in 2 weeks, needs a 3-bedroom, budget is $5,000 a month. Now what? Now we hit step 3, backfill the property. This is the scary part.
This is the pivot point of the whole model.
Because now I have to scramble, right? I've got a client, I've got money on the table, and I am technically homeless. I have to go find a landlord, sign a lease, furnish an entire place, and get it ready in 2 weeks.
You do. But just look at the leverage you have now. Garcia argues that this single move eliminates 90% of the risk.
How is scrambling to find a house eliminating risk? That sounds like the definition of risk.
Because you basically have the check in your hand. Think about the alternative. You sign a lease for $2,000 a month, you spend $10,000 on furniture, and then you just sit there and wait. That is high risk.
Okay, fair point.
In Garcia's model, you don't spend a single dime until you know exactly who is paying for it and exactly how much they're paying. It's the difference between speculation and execution.
And I bet the conversation with a potential landlord is a lot different too.
Oh, totally. If you go to a property owner and say, I'd like to lease your house to put it on Airbnb, they might just say no.
Right.
But if you go to them and say, I have a contract with a major tech company to house their vice president for the next 6 months at a premium rate, that landlord is going to roll out the red carpet for you.
You're bringing them a guaranteed corporate tenant, not a random bachelor party.
You're a business conduit. You're not a risk.
Okay, let's play devil's advocate for a second. What happens if the corporate client backs out? I sign the lease, I buy all the furniture, and then the VP decides not to take the job. Now I'm stuck.
That is the number one fear, and it's a valid one. But here's the difference. In the corporate world, unlike the tourist world, contracts are much tighter. You would normally get a signed agreement from the company before you sign your own lease.
So you're matching the lease terms.
Ideally, yeah. Or because you did all that research in step 1, you know the demand is deep. You know that if this VP doesn't take it, another one will be coming right behind them. You're not relying on one person. You're relying on a relationship with a company that moves 50 people a year.
That makes sense. Let's talk about the sustainability of this. Garcia talks a lot about the relationship economy. He has this quote I really like. I don't chase rents, I build relationships.
It's the classic difference between hunting and farming.
Okay, I like that analogy. So Airbnb is hunting.
Airbnb is absolutely hunting. You kill what you eat, you get a booking, you make money for the week, then you have to go right back out and hunt for the next one. It's exhausting.
And if the algorithm changes or you get one bad review because the Wi-Fi was slow.
You starve. But the relationship economy is farming. You plant these seeds with the HR directors. You nurture them, and then they feed you consistently. Garcia says you don't need 50 units to be successful. You might just need 5 great relationships.
5 people who just call you every single time they have a need.
Exactly. I mean, do the math. If you have 5 companies and they each send you 3 employees a year for 3-month stays, you have incredibly high occupancy, basically zero marketing spend, and predictable revenue.
That zero marketing spend part really stands out. You're not paying for ads, you're not boosting listings.
Nope. But you do have to do what he calls maintenance. And this is where a lot of people drop the ball. You can't just get the contract and then disappear.
So what does that look like? Just annoying them with emails all the time?
No, it's value-add communication. You don't just email to say hi. You send them your availability list. Hey, here's what I have opening up in November. HR directors love that because it helps them plan ahead.
It's proactive. It's like, I know you guys usually do a round of hiring in the winter, so here's what I have ready for you.
Exactly. And then there are the personal touches. Remembering a birthday, celebrating a promotion. If a client sends you $50,000 worth of business in a year, sending them a $50 gift basket isn't a cost. It's a smart investment.
It seems so basic, but I guess in this age of automation and apps, we just forget that human element.
That's the real irony, isn't it? High-ticket business is still done person to person. If an HR director has to choose between some faceless profile on a website and the guy who sent them a handwritten note when they got promoted, who are they going to call?
They call the partner.
And that leads to what Garcia calls predictable peace of mind, which is the complete opposite of the anxiety most entrepreneurs feel every single day.
That freedom.
I'm
Yeah,
thinking-
that has to be the goal. Which brings us to the last piece, scalability. If you're doing all this high-touch personal relationship stuff, how do you actually grow? Doesn't it just take up all of your time?
This is where the systems have to come in. Garcia has a great line. He says, rhythm doesn't come from more doors, it comes from smarter operations.
Smarter operations. Okay, what does that actually mean here?
It means standardization. If every single time you get a new unit, you are driving to IKEA and having an existential crisis over which sofa to buy, you can't scale. You need a kit, a standard furniture package, a standard linen package, a standard kitchen setup. So when you sign a new lease, you or your assistant just clicks a button and the standard setup gets ordered and delivered.
So you're not designing anymore, you're deploying.
You are deploying, and that applies to your communication too. You have templates for the initial outreach, templates for check-in instructions, templates for lease agreements. The relationship feels personal, but the execution is systematic.
I see. So the client feels like they're getting this bespoke one-on-one experience, but on the back end, it's running like a factory.
That is the secret to scaling any service business. Personalized front end, standardized back end.
So if we zoom out and look at the whole thing, we've got the old lease then list model, which is high risk, high effort, and super volatile.
And then you have Garcia's backwards model. Find the demand, build the trust, and then backfill the property.
It's a complete shift from speculation to certainty. It really just destroys that field of dreams mentality, doesn't it? The whole, if you build it, they will come.
It completely flips it. Garcia is basically saying, go ask them if they're coming first. Get it in writing. Then you can build it.
It makes me wonder where else this applies. I mean, we're talking about corporate housing, but isn't this true for almost any freelancer or small business owner?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
How many people build an entire app before they've even talked to one user? Or write a whole online course before they have an audience? We get addicted to the creation part because that's the fun part.
Right. We polish the furniture because it feels like productive work, but we avoid making the phone call because it feels like potential rejection.
That got steep, but it's so true. The backwards business model forces you to do the hard part first. But if you do that hard part securing the demand, the rest of the business becomes surprisingly easy.
So the challenge for everyone listening, whether you're in real estate or you run a consulting gig, is to look at your own business and ask, where am I just guessing?
And where could I be calling instead? Who is the insurance adjuster in my industry who has some urgent problem that I can solve for them right now?
It leaves us with a really provocative thought. We spend so much time and energy over-engineering the product, the house, the software, the final deliverable. But if Garcia's right, and the product is actually secondary to the person who's paying for it, are we all just obsessing over the wrong thing?
Are we obsessing over the wrong asset? Maybe the asset isn't the house at all. Maybe the real asset is the phone number of the person who signs the check.
In a world of algorithms, that human relationship might be the only thing that can't be commoditized.
I think you're right.
On that note, we'll wrap it up. A huge thank you to the insights from Jorge Garcia and Roadmap Lodging for flipping our perspective today.
It was a pleasure to break it all down.
As always, stop chasing, start choosing. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.